We have the blood of the dragon.
Welcome back, everyone. It's Charlie. There was a recent House of the Dragon event that HBO held overseas where they showed off another new trailer that has since leaked out, so we'll do a breakdown of all the new footage because it's actually much more complete than the last big promo that they did release. So if you're brand new to the channel, of course I'll be doing videos for all the episodes and for Night of the Seven Kingdoms episodes, which we're actually getting in January really soon. Really good news is we're also supposed to get a new trailer for Night of the Seven Kingdoms at CCXP. Of course, I will do all the videos for that as soon as they do release it online. But probably one of the first big images that actually got out is of Rhaenyra here holding a sword. So this actually lines up with some images that we saw behind the scenes when they were filming Season 2, and the actress who plays Rhaenyra, Emma D'Arcy, who said one of the things that she wanted to do that they had not done yet as of Season 2 was Rhaenyra using a sword. My assumption, based on the garb she's wearing, like a more battle-like garb, this actually might be happening during the sack of King's Landing at the very beginning of the season, as she's ready to actually she's in the process of taking King's Landing from the Greens, after Aemond has taken Vhagar and headed to Harrenhal, thinking that he's going to find Daemon there, but finding nobody at the actual castle, because Daemon has already left to come back to King's Landing to help Rhaenyra take King's Landing, and the rest of the army has gone on to other places to fight the Greens. This is kind of the joke, the gambit that they play on Aemond very successfully, where they get him to leave the city with Vhagar, leaving it completely undefended, which is why Alysanne at the end of Season 2 came to tell Rhaenyra, look, this is actually the perfect time to come take the city because Aemond is going to be gone, Vhagar will be gone, why don't you come, take the Iron Throne, I will let you pass right through to the Iron Throne and it'll be yours. If you zoom in and enhance on the sword that Rhaenyra is holding, it's not meant to be Blackfire. This is book-accurate Blackfire that I'm holding. The actual show version is a much bigger sword. This is why I think that the sword that she's holding is just something from before she actually sacks King's Landing, and Blackfire is inside the Red Keep. So maybe we will actually get a shot of her holding Blackfire after she takes the Iron Throne if Aemond didn't take it with him to Harrenhal. The show version of Blackfire is a two-handed sword. It's not very practical to use on Dragonback though, even on a dragon as big as Vhagar's, so I'm assuming he probably did not take it with him. During the Fire and Blood book that they're adapting for House of the Dragon, during the actual period of fighting, the actual battles during the Dance of the Dragons, Rhaenyra spent most of the time during that actually recovering from her miscarriage that she had during Season 1. There have been a number of changes in the way that they've adapted Fire and Blood in the actual history text written about her for the actual show. Like the people who actually wrote the histories, the Maesters, supposedly recorded somewhat incorrectly and biased more towards the Greens. The actual Maester that wrote most of the story was very Green-leaning.
Daemon and Rhaenyra had come for her throne, for the city was defenseless.
So Ryan Condal, the showrunner, and the other people making House of the Dragon had tried to use that as an opportunity to provide a more first-person balanced perspective, like what actually happened during the Dance of the Dragons. So in this version, Rhaenyra just much more active and actually gets to have a little bit of fighting. Then what we'll do is just go through the rest of the leaked trailer beat by beat, talking about WTF moments and Easter eggs here for big book events. It started with Rhaenyra preparing to attack King's Landing in Episode 1. It sounds like Corlys asked her to decide what she wants from this war. You remember, part of the idea is that Corlys has started to lose everything. He just lost his wife, so he's beginning to grow more and more disillusioned with the Blacks in Rhaenyra's cause. You have to remember, this is the world of Game of Thrones, backstabbing, people changing allegiances happens all the time, people switching sides, so that's always a constant threat. Just because Rhaenyra has all these supporters and seems like she's actually winning this war at the moment doesn't mean it will always be the case. Ryan Condal himself also implied that one of Rhaenyra's big pitfalls this season, one of the things that will cause her downfall, is that she also begins to believe too much in the prophecy of the Long Night, the White Walkers, and the prince who was promised. This is actually meant to be the whole basis for their conflict over the Iron Throne, because she believes that she is the person, the prince who was promised to stop the Long Night and the White Walkers that are coming, because at this point in history, nobody knows when that's going to happen, the next Long Night, so they all think that it's right around the corner, and she thinks that she is who Jon Snow eventually winds up being. So just imagine how her being so prophecy drunk this season is going to cause her to act, and how that will ultimately lead to her downfall. One of the big running themes during the original Game of Thrones series is that people misinterpreting prophecy was a very regular thing, and it ultimately leading to their own downfall. This is a big George R. R. Martin thing, like yes, prophecy is real, visions are real, but people always misinterpret it and it always goes badly for them. Just ask Stannis. There's another new moment of a heated romantic moment between Daemon and Rhaenyra. It sounds like after he's come back to help her take King's Landing, and they've sort of become this same unit again. They kind of alluded to that at the end of Season 2, where he had seen the Weirwood dream in the Three-Eyed Raven, and all these things that will happen in the future. So he's finally on the same page with Rhaenyra, like, oh, I understand that I'm just a small cog in the wheel of all these things that need to happen to stop the Long Night. One of the other big things that he sees during that, if it wasn't super clear with some of the visions, because Daenerys shows up in that vision with her 3 dragon eggs, is Daemon realizing that Daenerys, now he doesn't know it's Daenerys, he just senses it's a girl that looks kind of like Rhaenyra and kind of like him. He's actually realizing that Daenerys is meant to come from his and Rhaenyra's line, like, oh, this is important, my line will lead to this, but I'm just a small cog in this that will come to pass eventually.
Sola Armazis.
So part of the idea is that the Three-Eyed Raven was trying to show Daemon that he needed to be on the same page with Rhaenyra because of the pending Long Night. But obviously, because of the way prophecy works, he wasn't telling him exactly when that was going to happen. Like, oh, it's going to happen on Thursday in a couple years. It's just that a couple years is a couple hundred years. So the idea is that the friction that you saw between Daemon and Rhaenyra at the beginning of Season 2 is completely gone now. Then there's another quick cut showing a realm divided between Rhaenyra and Aemond, talking about all the different armies, the blacks and the greens, as well as the other great houses, and the small folk themselves. Heading into the beginning of Season 2, Rhaenyra has the strong advantage in that she has way more dragons available to her than the greens, way more nuclear weapons, so it seems like this is her game to lose. There are a number of political and practical things happening in the realm that will actually cause that to become a little more balanced by the end of Season 3. But I think the idea in the marketing of the actual Season 3, HBO wants it to seem like more of a balanced fight. Then there's finally another new scene of Otto Hightower seen in a vulnerable position and looking upwards saying, if your father knew this would happen, I wonder if he would have made a different decision. Otto is probably talking to his son, Ormund Hightower, who's leading the Hightower army, which was on the march at the end of Season 2 and is a big part of Season 3, all these big battles that are happening. Ryan Condal also said that Otto Hightower comes back in a really big way this season. Like, he has a lot of really big scenes across the season, whereas he wasn't really around that much during Season 2. I think part of the idea here is that Otto Hightower has also grown very disillusioned with the war itself too, and how it's tearing the realm apart. Like, no, this is becoming very bad for everybody. We need to stop this right now. Then there's another scene of Aegon still in the middle of his escape from King's Landing with Larys Strong, and during this scene of him escaping, he's seen attacking somebody with a knife. You remember, part of the idea is that he doesn't have the Valyrian dagger anymore. I believe that that was left at King's Landing because Alysanne was looking for it and more tomes about the actual prophecy itself. That was a big thing during Season 2, is that Alysanne was starting to pay more attention to all these things that Viserys was obsessed with when he was alive, the actual prophecy itself, and all this Targaryen history, Valyrian history. What I'm really hoping when it actually comes to the dagger is that Rhaenyra finds it, because she knows all about it. She knows that fire reveals the actual prophecy itself. So maybe we'll get some cool prophecy scenes with her looking at the dagger, and maybe Alysanne will learn a little bit more about that too, because we are supposed to get way more scenes of the two of them at King's Landing in the Red Keep. And if she's so obsessed with prophecy, then Rhaenyra is probably going to be thinking about that all the time. You can let me know in the comments if you think that Alysanne is going to learn more about the actual prophecy itself from Rhaenyra, because she'd be the person to actually tell her, because she knows the whole prophecy, and Alysanne has been trying to learn about the actual truth of it. There's another new scene of Alysanne hugging Aemond. I'm assuming this is before he goes to Harrenhal with Vhagar early in the season. There was a lot of tension between the two of them towards the end of the season, because he basically kicked her out of the small council, like, no, we don't want you here anymore, mother. Why don't you go off and do something else? Then she got really pissed off at him when he tried to force Helaena to mount Dreamfire, because he wanted everybody on their available dragons. Like, we have another dragon that's not being ridden right now, get on it. I think the vibe is that she still loves Aemond like her son. Like, it's a very Cersei Joffrey kind of situation where Joffrey is a monster, Aemond is acting kind of like a monster. I wouldn't say he's gone full Joffrey yet, like he's not actually insane. But she's probably saying a last goodbye to him before Rhaenyra comes, because she knows exactly what's about to happen. Like, oh, I just visited our worst enemy and she's going to be taking the Iron Throne from you, and I'm a big part of that. Give me a big hug, maybe we can actually transfer this power and you won't die because of all this. Like, Alysanne doesn't want to see her children die. Then there's another new scene of Daemon on a battlefield. I'm assuming this is actually the scene of Daemon that they released officially with him in his armor on the first battle of Tumbleton. Like, they're hitting the field here. Notice that you actually see Oscar Tully behind him looking like he is not built for this. Like, this is too crazy. What am I doing here? This is going to be nuts. This is actually meant to be the final big battle of the season. Like, it'll be episode 7, and then episode 8 will be the aftermath of that. In the same Game of Thrones tradition where, like, their final big WTF battle is the penultimate episode, then they always use the final episode, whatever that winds up being, for the aftermath. The second new scene they release is of Rhaenyra holding Viserys' crown, her father. Technically, it's Jaehaerys' crown that just passed along to her eventually. If you couldn't tell, she's in the King's Chambers, her father's old room, which Aegon recently vacated, where Viserys showed her the prophecy etched into the Valyrian dagger with fire. So it's meant to be kind of a full circle moment, like she's back here in the same place, thinking about the prophecy, thinking about her father, thinking about the crown, and notice what she's wearing too. There's a bit of a fit check here too. This is the outfit that she's going to be wearing as the queen. Little more form-fitting, you also know the dragon scale pattern across her shoulders, the upper part of her body too, sort of like she's wearing light dragon armor, a more armor-ish look to her outfit.
I hope you do not mean to use her as an example.
Why shouldn't I?
There's a lot of stuff, a lot of characters that they left out of this teaser, like what's going on with Jace, Baela, the other kids, what's going on with some of the other dragons, so hopefully they'll put some of this in the first big trailer that they released officially. My assumption is that they'll wait until Night of the Seven Kingdoms is either finished airing or towards the end of it finishing airing to actually release that online, just because House of the Dragon Season 3 is airing so close to Night of the Seven Kingdoms. They're probably just going to be using Night to market that. See this big new Game of Thrones related adventure. Everybody post all your reactions in the comments below, and like I said, CCXP should have a whole bunch of trailers. Whatever they release for Night of the Seven Kingdoms, of course I will do videos for it, so be sure to enable alerts for my channel so you don't miss that. Everybody click here for all my Night of the Seven Kingdoms videos, and click here to learn about the Game of Thrones sequels that George R. R. Martin just announced. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.